If you're thinking of getting an au pair, these are some of the tips I think you should know as a potential future host family. I'm gonna share some of them. These are from other host families. I've had full host families, by the way, and au pairs. Like, these are just things that I feel like have gone south with host families that have caused rematch or have caused au pairs to stay. This program has worked for a lot of host families. It is not impossible to have an au pair, otherwise there would not be so many host families that have done them. And I think this could be a great thing for your family if done right. My first thing is, before you get an au pair, you need to know and understand the legal side of having an au pair. There's way too many families that think certain things they can do and certain things they can get away with. Now, for your own sake, if you don't do these things, honestly speaking, you could end up in jail. Like, for example, your pair needs to have her own room. Yes, she needs to have her own room in your house where she's safe, where she has a bed and a blanket and she is covered. And you cannot raise your voice at your au pair or even try, obviously, physically hitting her. That's out of the question. If you think that's okay, you need to go to jail. But raising your voice, she is not one of your kids. You can't raise your voice at your au pair. You can't shout at her. The next thing is, an au pair is not housekeeping or like a house manager. An au pair's job is not to come in and be a chef for the whole family. She's meant to cook for the kids, not for the whole family. She's not meant to be out here doing washing for the whole family. She does washing for the kids. Cleaning is basically like a mutual area where her and the kids use, clean the kids' dishes, those kind of things. I've seen host families that get amnesia. Is it amnesia? Amnesia? When the au pair finally comes and a few months go by and the au pair is doing all these things. I actually had a host family where the mom would walk in and be like, get the groceries out of the car. And I was like, what? Like, that's not my job. Like, you went shopping and I was getting the groceries. It's not even like we were both there. I was in the house minding my business. And so things like those. Your au pair has to have like an actual, like, there has to be a place to put her clothes. There has to be hangers. There has to be like running water for her, electricity. I'm trying to think of what are the other things that are basic things, like just basic needs that an au pair has to have access to. Food. Food is a big one. You would be surprised. You're probably sitting as a host family thinking like, this is crazy. Like, yeah, I'm gonna feed my au pair. You would be surprised at how host families starve their au pairs. Host families will either order takeout knowing very well there's no food in the house, and they'll order takeout for themselves and not for the au pair, or they will just buy like things that they need, or they won't even ask the au pair, do you need anything from the grocery store, and still complain like, please don't eat all the bread, please don't eat this, please don't eat that. And it's like, okay, what is the au pair meant to eat? You legally have to provide 3 meals a day for the au pair, and you have to give them $500 towards their education. That is like a legal requirement. That's not just out of our thumbs, that whole thing. You also legally required to pay their stipend every single week, because there are host families that get irritated when the au pair is asking for the money, and it's like, yo, you knew coming into this program that you have to pay a stipend. These are all like legal laws from the government, and if you're not doing them, you could get into serious trouble. Number 2, like, this one blows my mind, because when you find out about an au pair, and when au pairs find out about the possibility of becoming an au pair, they market it this way. This is a cultural exchange program, meaning you exchange cultures. And so if you're somebody who is not open to doing this, then don't get an au pair. Because I'm not saying you have to sit down with a book and a pen and be like, so in America in 1993, this is what we did. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like small things, like when you're at a grocery store, buy typical American foods for once, like especially when she just gets here. Like, say, oh, when I was a kid in school, typical American candy was this, and make her taste it. Or ask, like, do you guys have this candy? Like, it's an American candy. Nowadays, you can even Google American candy, buy all those candies and make her taste them. I'm not saying throughout her whole year she's gonna eat this candy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying she's gonna try. That's a cultural exchange. Thanksgiving is a cultural exchange. So you don't even have to talk to her about it. Like, when Thanksgiving happens, her just watching what you guys are doing, her tasting foods, like, say, oh, this is how we make our greens. How do you guys make your greens? You will learn a lot about how they cook their food in their country too. For example, like the turkey, like why you celebrate Thanksgiving, Do you guys have Thanksgiving? No, because Thanksgiving is an American holiday. So it's stuff like that. It's like, here, for me, I know Thanksgiving and Christmas is so different to how we do it. We don't have Thanksgiving in South Africa, first of all, but Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, it's like, we don't do, well, we do Christmas in South Africa, but it's still completely different because my Christmas is warm in South Africa. Here it's cold, and here it's like pajamas all day, hot chocolate, like opening gifts early in the morning. In South Africa, it's like church, it's like your family, everyone's hot, so everyone's outside. It's like a summer Christmas, you know, so it's completely different. So when I came here and I learned it, I was like, wow, like snow on Christmas Day, that's interesting. Pajamas, matching pajamas, it's like a whole thing. And so those are small things where you're not sitting down, and it's not like you, as I said, you writing and you have to be like a structure, like this is cultural, this is no, it's just like as the days go by, you learn about her culture, she learns about your culture. I've been with my current host family since 2019, and I'm still with them, and almost every few months we'll talk about something from their side or from my side, and I learn something new either about America or they learn something new about South Africa. Like I was talking to them about being a prefect in school and what's it like, and they were like, we don't have prefects in school, and so I was explaining it and like, what's your job, and so it's that, it was a cultural difference. They learned something new about South Africa, and so it doesn't have to be strict. But I say it's a big part of your au pair's learning journey. So don't steal that away from them. Like, open up with your culture and like be interested in her culture too. Number 3, I know there's agencies going around here advertising 24/7 childcare, reliable, consistent, and that whole thing. Listen. Au pairs are reliable, but I just wanna clarify something. We are not 24/7 childcare. Au pairs get breaks. As much as you need a break from your own kids too, au pairs need breaks, and there's a schedule. Au pairs have to work 45 hours a week. You can't save hours and be like, I'm gonna use 70 hours this week, 30 hours this week. No, you can't do that. The maximum an au pair can work a day is 10 hours, and so yes, we live in your house and like there's always access to us, or we're always around, but at the same time we're not always working. 24/7 is, nobody could work unless, well, you're not working when you're looking after your own kid, but nobody could be working 24/7 for a full year. That is illegal. That is illegal. And if there's an agency that's telling you that your au pair is going to work 24/7, I would run. I wouldn't use that agency. They're also required to have 2 weeks off within a year. So if you have an au pair that's staying with you for 1 year, she's required to have 2 weeks off, and once a month she is required to have all the whole weekend off. So let's say it's July. You sit down with your au pair and you say, in July, that one weekend you're gonna be off the whole weekend from Friday until the end of Sunday, so you start back on Monday. Now, what I would say, this is just a tip. If you want an au pair and you want to have a great relationship with your pair, and if you have the means or you have the time, I would say if you don't need your au pair on the weekend, don't have your au pair on the weekend. Let her travel, let her see stuff, because it's harder to see stuff in the week because all the other au pairs are working. And if you're off on a Tuesday, then you're off on a Thursday again, it's like harder to travel. Versus like, if you don't need your au pair on the weekends, give her off, because there's gonna be a time where you're gonna run late, or there's gonna be a time where you're gonna need her to work those weekends, and they're gonna remember it. Like, they're gonna remember all the times you were good to them, and it's gonna come back. Because all the families that were good to me, that when I said, oh, like, you know, like they were like, we don't need you on the weekends, or if they like gave me extra time, for example, let's say they back an hour before I was done, and they're like, no, it's fine, take the day off or go whatever. I always remember that. So when they were stuck in traffic, or when they were like, I'm back but I have a migraine, I'm like, go take a nap for an hour, I got you, even though my time is up. You know, you remember that as an au pair. You're like, oh, they had my back, I had their back. And so if you want that kind of relationship, I highly say, if you can, I'm not saying like if you work on Saturdays and your au pair, that's the main reason you need your au pair. I'm talking about if on Saturdays, you know, you're chilling and you're watching a movie, chill and watch a movie with your kids. I've seen families do this where they're upstairs chilling and watching movies. And yes, you need alone time, and I get it. Then say, hey, I just need 2 hours in the morning to do this, and then the rest of the day you free. But host families that keep their au pairs just because her hours are not up, she then used the full 45 hours. So now you have your au pair sitting in the basement with these kids and you watching TV, and you don't even need to have her because you could have been watching TV with your kids, but you're trying to finish the hours. That's gonna backfire on you. I'm just giving you an au pair tip. You don't have to take my advice. You can do your own. Number 4 is before your au pair even comes, or before you get an au pair, you need to know, like, you need to set rules for your household and what you're comfortable with. And then as you're looking for an au pair, say, these are the rules I'm comfortable with, and then gauge from there. Because there's host families that will be like, oh, we don't have rules, free flow, whatever. And then the au pair comes, they don't tell the au pair during the interview process that, hey, in this household, everyone needs to be back by 11 p.m. Listen, it works great because you and your husband are always together. You'll come back at 11 p.m. That's cool. You'll go to bed early. You'll got kids, whatever. You'll have a nanny. The nanny goes home to a house, whatever. So that is never a problem. You have an au pair that's come on this adventure, who's grown, hasn't had the curfew at least for 6 years. Or if she just got out of school, had a curfew her whole school life, but now is excited to not have a curfew. And then you're going to come and tell her, actually, I want you home at 11. And especially if she's not working the next day, that could be a problem. That could raise red flags and questions. And you always want to know straight up front, like, hey, as I'm going to this household, there's a curfew. Do I want to match with this family? Do I not? There's a curfew for the car. There's a curfew for the house. If I'm working the next day, you want me home this time. But if I'm off, you don't want me. What are the rules if I sleep out? What are the rules if I come over with friends? Like, you need to make up all those rules. So by the time you start interviewing au pairs, you yourself know what you want and what are the rules for your house, what are the rules for your car. Because at the end of the day, it is your house, it is your car, and we definitely respect it. But we also young, and so we don't want to be like 10 o'clock, I must be coming home running because I have a curfew. No au pair is gonna want to come do that. And there's some of them, in fact, no, nobody's gonna want to have a curfew. Now, if you're working the next day, that's like a different topic because most host families give curfews for those. And even when I got here, I had a curfew. And then my host family just realized that I'm a homebody. I only go out on the weekends. On the weekends, I go, I come, whenever. But I must say, there has been times where, like, once in a while, once in like every 3-6 months, depending on when my friend is having a birthday. If their birthday is in the week, like my friend had last year around August, her birthday was like on a Thursday, and so we all went to poetry night, and it ended late, and I got here at like 11:30, not even 11:30. I think I got here at like 12:30 or something like that. But it was super late, and I came in, and they didn't frown, they didn't throw a tantrum because they knew that it was once in a while. I'm not like that all the time. Now, if I was that all the time, then that would have been a problem, you know? So it's the same thing, like, when you do decide to get your au pair, just gauge on her personality. Because trust me, no au pair is gonna want to be getting up 7 o'clock the next morning and going to bed at like 2 in the morning. Like, where are we gonna get this energy from? Number 5, going with your rules. If you're somebody who is not good at confronting, or if you're somebody who doesn't like awkward situations or conflict, you're gonna need to learn that. Because having an au pair, you need to have communication skills. You need to have good communication skills. You've set your house rules for your house. You've set all these things. You've interviewed your au pairs, whatever. Now they're in your house. You're gonna need to learn to have like communication skills. So let's say she's doing something you don't like, or you don't like the way she's, I don't know, like maybe you have a specific way of feeding your child, and yes, she learns it, but she's now going into her own direction, or you particular about certain things. I'm not talking about like petty stuff. I'm talking about like things that you're like particular about because of the child's health. You need to have those tough conversations. Like, you're gonna need to bring it up. Just make sure that you're not being petty and you're like, oh my gosh, my kids are gonna be more in love with her, whatever. Or it's like, okay, this is a genuine hazard. Or I want my kids to, for example, my host kid, he can sometimes speak a specific way, and my host family and I don't like it. Like, he has like this way of speaking certain things, And so we will literally, I'll find myself saying, hey, that's not how we speak, or that's not how we speak to people, or that's not how we, and because I've seen my host family do it, I've also picked that up where I'm like, in this house, yes, your friends speak that way. In this house, this is how we speak, you know? And so it's certain things like that where, for example, you can say to your au pair, hey, when you see Tyler, maybe Tyler has a bad habit of biting their nails, or bad habit of swearing, or bad habit of throwing stuff. Can you make sure, like, can you reinforce that this is what we want for him and this is how we do stuff? But naturally, au pairs do that. Or just have a difficult conversation where you say the car needs to be back 2 a.m. and it keeps coming back at 4 a.m. every day. Those are conversations you're going to have. You're going to have to sit down as adults. What is annoying, and it had annoyed me too, is when families don't have the conversation and then have a mood and a tantrum and a temper and like you know, when people beat around the bush, that is annoying. Like that, like one of the host moms I had would do that. And for me, I'm like, confront the situation. So constantly I had to be like, hey, are you okay? Is there anything wrong? Then I would get something out of her. But like sometimes it's okay. It's your household. It's your kids. It's okay for you to say, hey, this is not how I want to do it. Because also what was happening is that she just assumed, and most of the time she had this whole preconceived idea of how this outcome's going to be and whatever. And then when we spoke, it was actually smaller than what she thought it was, you know, and there was an explanation for it. But because she hadn't spoken to me, it was, you know, like she came up with her own idea like I have it. And I was just like, no, it was a constant thing where I'm just like, and I would say, if there's something I'm doing that is not the way you like it to be done in the house, can you tell me again? You know, so I can also know, and I am human and I need to remember, and sometimes you may have to tell me twice or 3 times, whatever, but it's okay, you know. So communication is a big thing. Communication can make or break your relationship with your au pair. And lastly, number 6, this is a big one, and this goes with every single situation or relationship. You have to trust your au pair. Before going into this au pair system, tell yourself that no matter what happens, and I'm not talking about like your kids getting hurt, whatever, I'm talking about no matter the situation, you're going to trust your au pair and you're going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Because you can tell when a family doesn't trust you. I don't know how, like I can't even explain it, but you can tell when they don't trust you, when they just want you to do your job and be done, and like they don't care about building a relationship outside, they don't care about how's your day, whatever. Trust your au pair. Don't hover over her, like especially like the first few weeks. Like give her room to grow and to learn, and if she makes mistakes, teach her, set her up to win. Because there's some families where they don't set you up at all. They just like, oh, you can look after kids, you here, there. And it's like, no, I could look after kids in my country, kids that are raised maybe the same way I was raised. Raising kids in another country is so different. And then also another thing is that your household schedule and your household, how things are done in your household, is completely different to a neighbor's household. So you can't expect her to come and instantly fall into the role and just everything goes smoothly, because nobody trained and nobody showed her stuff, or you did like a 5-second training, like diapers, bag, this, done. And it's like, no. And then you get irritated because you're like, man, she's a qualified childcare person, whatever, why is she not? And it's like, no, you didn't take the time to show her. And so don't hover over her. Don't make her regret coming to ask you for help. That's it. Like set up a space that is so safe that she feels like, hey, I don't know how to do this, can you help me? Or I don't know how to do this, can you explain it to me one more time? Explain it, go. I don't know how, you know, like, Carrie, I'm having a problem with so-and-so disciplining her. What do you think I should do in this situation? What do you think I should do in that situation? Stuff like that, where it's like, you setting your au pair up to one, and in the end, it's going to benefit you. Because your au pair is going to want to stay longer, and you're not going to have to deal with training new au pairs, and you're not going to have to deal with rematch after rematch after rematch, because you're doing a rush job. You're not training your kids and you're not setting them up or creating an environment that is safe for them, an environment that is full of like joy, or just an environment where they want to be in. But yeah, so this is it for this video. If you are considering getting an au pair, I have a video that's called Questions Host Families Should Ask Au Pairs. It's up here. This video is specifically for when you're interviewing au pairs and you're trying to find a match. I am also creating a PDF. It's so detailed. It's gonna cover the needs of every family. It's gonna cover needs on how to notice if an au pair is here for the right reasons, or if she's here just to get into the country, or if she's here to get married, or if she's here, or if it's gonna be a great fit for your family. Because 90% of the times people go into rematches because you have a family and you have an au pair and you're trying to make it fit. For example, let's say family A needs to go with au pair A, but you have family A trying to get au pair B, and it's clashing because this family wants an au pair that is super independent, minds her own business, is able to entertain herself. However, they keep getting au pairs that want to be dependent on the family and hang out with the family and want to be around the family. And then same thing, a family wants an au pair that wants to spend time with them, but they keep getting au pairs that don't want to spend time with families that are, or you want a mixture of both. Like, I love hanging out with my family, but there's times where I tell them, bye y'all, like straight after work, I'm just like, I need peace and quiet. And it could go on for like a month like that, and they know that there's no bad blood there. But yeah, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will put the PDF either in the description, and it will be somewhere here on YouTube too. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and all the best. Bye. Hey y'all, thank you so much for watching this video. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.